we had explored over many years different parts of the UC that could possibly be used for the expansion and growth of some of our programs, services, events, and activities. What we came to at a point in time was that one thing was that the bowling and billiards area was not a highly utilized area, given the 15,000 square feet, and that we would look to the possibility of looking at that space and see if it could meet some of our needs. As many of you know, the university has grown greatly, not only in the number of students, but the number of programs, events, services, and things that we have. When possible, we have tried to move things outside of the building to create more space for the people there. And I'm just going to mention a few of the things that we've moved just in the 7 years that I've been here. Disabilities, the Office for Disability Services moved to University Hall. Orientation and Off-Campus Mavericks moved to the MAC. Off-Campus Mavericks Lounge was when we redid the whole lounge area in the MAC. The cheerleaders and the dance team moved to the MAC. The housing office here is broken into residence and apartment life, which is under me, and the housing office, which is under John Hall. The part that reports to me was moved to Arlington Hall and out of this building. The other part is still on the first floor, as I'm sure many of you know. In addition to that, you know that we redid the MAC just about, 5 years ago. And so we've tried to create more space for all the things that have happened. We've also had a number of new programs that have been started over this period. The RVSP office, the LGBT Center just recently, the Parent and Family Center, which really is not a center. Right now we have 2 offices and we really don't have the space to do the things that we'd like to do there. We've been asked by the Regents to start a Students in Recovery program for individuals with alcohol and drug issues. That's something we'll start this spring. We have no space for that program at this point. We've talked about, just like we have this great block program, we'd like to start a program for the sophomore year experience. And again, we have no space for that. We've talked about a services center. We've grown from just under 10,000 students involved in clubs and organizations to over 15,000 students and subsequent numbers of organizations. We don't have a place for those clubs and organizations to do just simple things like do posters for their events, have computers for things, plotters, have a place for them to meet. We really have grown so much, but there's no place for them to go. So that has been an issue. In addition, we have also more and more students that are involved and engaged here on campus over at least the number of years that I've been here, and really over the last decade. Again, looking at bowling and billiards, it's not that any of us don't like bowling and billiards. We've looked at the possibility of taking the billiard side of it, of the house, and moving some of it to the MAC. The plan would be to move some of the tables there. We also have billiard tables in a lot of the new residence halls. We've looked at the possibility of putting a billiard table in the clubhouse and the apartment side, if it will fit there. So in essence, it would be looking at possibilities for moving billiards. I will say that the bowling side is a different story. There's really no place on campus that I know of where we could just pick up and move the bowling side. Again, the numbers, in my opinion, are rather low. And with a couple of bowling alleys very close to the university, it seemed to be not as high a priority as serving all the students that we have in not only the clubs and organizations, but a lot of the departments. That board over there that's color coded, first of all, I want you to know that we, at this point, we're looking for your voice and your ideas and where we should go. There is no done deal. There's no financing at this point that's been identified. We basically asked your Student Congress President to be a part of this committee. We're asking you tonight and have over the last few weeks for your voice on what you think is best. And we will move forward depending on where students feel we should be using our space. But that colored board right there with blue and red and yellow and all that, that's really just kind of a depiction of what we might be able to fit there. There are no plans yet. We haven't gotten an architect. That doesn't really say that one office is going to be to the left and one's going to be to the right. We have a leadership center that's been started here. started approximately 5 years ago. We have no space for the Leadership Center for a number of years. We've recently moved them back into that suite, and they have a couple of offices. That's the most space they've had in the last 5 years. We really would like to grow that program tremendously. We have no classroom to do some of the classes that we want to do. It's very difficult for students to meet. You know, all of this is trying to get you to have more meeting rooms, more space, and to be able to do things. That basically gives us a sense of what we could fit there. And then the other board that's not colored kind of is a first run, a very cursory first run, nothing in stone, but basically says the kinds of things that we could then move to the basement of the UC. We would not do any major renovation in the basement. We just did a beautiful renovation about a year and a half ago. What we would do is fit things. So down there we would probably put our services center. We would have meeting rooms for exec boards to meet. We would have meeting rooms that would be bigger for larger groups. We would have interns that have no office space. We have organizations that are on top of each other in the middle of the lower level in those cubes. And so all of this, having it 15,000 square feet, would enable us to move some things upstairs, reposition some things downstairs, and have a lot more space for our growing student population in terms of all the, as I said, program services, events, and things that we do. So in essence, that is the plan and where it stands today. I know you had some questions regarding numbers, how many people and all that, and I can take some questions, but my guess is some of your questions may be to these guys. John, is there anything else you wanted to add at this point?
Not at this point. I think David may have some data that he can share with utilization.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the data? I know there have been questions as how many people and all of that, so David, why don't you go with that?
Sure. Yeah, I just have a handout on our utilization for the last 5 years. I apologize, I don't have 25 copies of that, but that's kind of a graphical representation of where we've been over the last 5 years, and kind of where we stand today. I think it's, for the most part, pretty clear cut. Last year, at the end of the year, we ended up with about 52,640 guests that came into Bowling and Billiards. What that number represents is anybody that walks in the door, whether they're bowling, whether they're shooting pool, whether they're buying Coke, or just, and they're utilizing the lounge space. So that's kind of just anybody that walks through the doors. Over the last 5 years, you can see how we've kind of gone up and down, but we're significantly over where we were 5 years ago. But like I think Dr. Lamas has alluded to, we're just kind of looking for feedback on what you all feel is the best utilization of the space. So, any questions in regards to utilization? I think it's still kind of going around, but.
Why don't we answer your questions?
Okay. Well, at this time, Student Congress senators will have the opportunity to ask questions or provide comments regarding the proposal. As always, senators will raise your hand to be put on the list to speak. I will call on senators in the order as they appear, and no more than 30 minutes will be allotted for senator discussion.
One of my main concerns, and many of the people I talk to, is the limited amount of student activities that are actually on campus. Not involved with organizations, just simple things anyone can go do. The only places I can think of are where the bowling and billiards plays. Are there plans to add more in the future, or what's going to be done about that situation?
Well, from my perspective, if you go to the MAC, you go to the second floor of the MAC, and we have all sorts of gaming possibilities there. You could actually rent things out and even use the TVs in the social space on the first floor. As I indicated, the plan would be, if the space were to be repurposed, that we would move some billiard tables over to the MAC also. So I think the MAC would be more of the gaming, kinds of game, fun things that you're talking about. Obviously, the MAC serves a purpose in terms of a cross-section. If you go any given day on the second floor there, some people are playing ping pong, some people could be playing billiards, some people could be doing video games. And so I think just that building alone, there's about 4,500 people a day that go in and out of that building. And so I think it certainly would take the traffic that is through Bowling and Billiards without any issues. And I think that, at the end of the day, from my perspective, it's about a 5-minute walk from there to the MAC, maybe 7 if you're slow, I guess, I don't know. So that to me would fill the void for some of those things, and that is a building that we spent $34.5 million just several years ago to have not only wellness kinds of things, but gaming and other kinds of things. So again, perfect world, it would be nice if we had multiple locations, but given the space that we have for all these other things that we're trying to accomplish, it seems a potential location for it.
Based on the research that I've done, basically asking the people, there are a lot of student groups and even professors who have a certain bowling night or social gatherings in the bowling area. So, and I also learned that there are some modifications made to the bowling and billiards area recently, like renovations and stuff. So, taking those two events into account, could you just elaborate on, the remedy?
I don't know what it would cost to go there, but again, the numbers that I have seen are not very high, and that's why I checked within my own division, and there are certainly a few activities that happen, but they're, you can count them on one hand, the ones that I got from some of my staff, and so certainly from student clubs and organizations and things that I've seen. Now, David probably has seen more of it come through than I do, because that's what he works with. So no one's denying that it would be a nice thing to do. However, I think there are at least 2 bowling alleys that I located right here in Arlington that are within 5-10 minutes away from the campus. They could be utilized for those kinds of things. So from my perspective, it doesn't come to the top of the list as some of these other things do. I'm not against it, it's just not as much of a priority for me.
I was looking at the master plan. Is just no chance that the UC is going to be added onto within the next, there's suggestions for making additions in the master plan. And maybe it's a capacity issue that's making it seem so underutilized. Maybe it's the bowling and billiards has to move, but bowling has to be expanded to really make that make sense and make it more useful to the students.
I think that always comes down to an opinion, and everybody has a right to their own opinion. In my opinion, bowling alleys on a college campus at lots of places have actually gone by the wayside over the years, because a lot of places have found a higher purpose for the space, because bowling alleys take so much space. I don't have any idea, and David and John would know better, how much it costs to upkeep lanes and things of that nature over time, but it sounds like at least right now things are breaking even. I've seen a lot of unions that used to have bowling alleys. Some had pools back in the old days that, they just saw that they're just such monster spaces that they've either moved things to other places or they've decided not to do them.
Dr. Lamas, I was wondering, do you have a ballpark estimate of how many students would gain from transferring the space into the programs and organizations that you intend to?
Well, when you look at the number of students, as I said, are called in clubs and organizations, that's 15,000 students right there off the bat that are going to be served in a better way than they have been to this point with a services center and whatever space we can carve out for some of those. Then all the departmental organizations, whether it's Student Congress, ambassadors, Excel, Greek Life, all of those areas will gain space in part of this. Then there's the new areas that we'll be able to serve better, like right now we say we have an LGBTQA center, but what we have is an area downstairs where we have a couple interns. We could have a center if we had that. We're looking at students in recovery. At this point, I don't know how many students we have in recovery on campus, but those students would gain because we have a private location where they could meet. And the list goes on and on. And so, again, I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm anti-bowling and billiards. I'm not at all. What I am is in favor of serving the most students that we can. And from from my perspective, that 15,000 square feet could serve many students, and then by virtue of the potential plan, that also frees up space downstairs. So I hear from students a lot that it's not always easy to get a meeting room for an exec group. Well, that would give us, spaces to do that. I know that the Leadership Center would like to teach classes in the building. That's not so easy, but, maybe, we can find a way to get a space for that. So again, the plan isn't done, but I think there's rich possibilities here with that space to serve a lot more students. But I couldn't tell you an exact number, but I'm trying to give you a sense for all the groups that are somehow connected to each of these areas as we move forward.
Most of my constituents have been kind of mixed on it. I think it's a really emotional issue. We all hate to lose something that's been here for almost 50 years. But my question is, long-term, 5 years down the road, how does having student organizations and the meeting areas for those groups, how does that affect Tier 1? Because A&M, UT, those all have places for student organizations.
Well, the one thing that I would say to you is one of the metrics for a Tier 1 institution, or even our institution, whether we're going to be going towards Tier 1 or not, is student success. And when students feel that they're connected, engaged, involved, and they have places to go and things to do, and they're being well served with some of those things, then they can be retained at higher levels and graduate at higher levels. So I would think that all three of us would sit here and all say to you basically that everything that we do starts with students in mind and trying to serve your needs in whatever ways we can. I think you look at the beautiful college district that we have. John was intricately involved in all of those things, and it is 20 acres of incredible space. I think our students are going to feel even more connected to this campus. And if you really look at the last decade, some people have said to me on a weeknight or even a weekend, you could drive your car almost up to your building and just park it on the sidewalk. They weren't supposed to do that, so don't try it. But nowadays, you can't, weeknights, weekends, this place is always hopping. And so I think all of these things over the last decade, and John has been here the longest of all of us, I believe, and he's seen probably the most transformation. But what it comes down to is Tier 1 is about getting those program services and connections and buildings and things that serve your needs. And I think that we're always constantly trying to push the envelope to do the things that will help you feel like this is your university and this is the place you want to be, and you want to just take every day while you're here and savor it and do the best that you can with it. So for me, all of the things we do are that. Some could argue that they're connected to these programs and that we could be hurting their feelings. So I think that what I look at is, there are times you need to prioritize, because you never have unlimited dollars and you never have unlimited space. And so to me, it's become more of an issue of how do we prioritize the resources we have to do the best for the most. And I think that's how this has kind of come about in my mind anyway. Do you want to add anything to that, John or David?
I don't believe so. Someone asked earlier about activities on the east side of campus, and you mentioned College Park, and so any chance I get to put in a plug for College Park, I take advantage of it. There's indoor activities and there's also outdoor activities, and I would just put in a plug for the green at College Park. It's a great outdoor space that you can do a lot of activities out there. So I know it's not bowling or billiards, but it is a space that we've created on the east side of the campus for you all to use. And unfortunately, I don't see a lot of students using that space, but I would encourage you all to use that space on nice days.
If you look at some of the big projects like the MAC, that was getting students connected, involved, and engaged. The MAC is not just a recreational facility. The computers in the front, the off-campus Mavericks Lounge there, the social zone all the way down. I see more people doing their homework in the social zone than I do see people working out and coming after the workout. So we're trying to create a lot of spaces for the many individuals to feel. One of the things that I've heard a lot about also the UC is that a lot of the action that's going on in the UC is below level. I've heard that for a number of years. And so one of the things that this space would do is that would put a lot of the student groups that are very active and doing lots of things above grade and where people can see it. And so that when you come by, you don't think the place is dead all the time, because they're probably here later than some of us. And so again, we don't have a space like that in the UC. And again, that's another reason why the potential for this project.
Senator McCain?
Good afternoon, Dr. Lamas. Glad you're on the panel. I'm Chris McCann. I'm currently a liberal arts senator. And one of the questions that I had, a lot of liberal arts students that attend colleges that are right there in front of the UC, and a lot of them actually eat there in the UC. So if you were to take bowling away, what would you guys add to supplement the fact that once these students finish eating, they may want to go bowl, they may want to go do billiards? What would you guys add?
I guess I would go back to the comment I made before. Work off your lunch, go over to the MAC. And, you know, if the stuff is over there, go play billiards there. Play ping pong. Get a workout in, get a locker and go get a workout in if you have that extra time. Do something over there. Go on your computer and check your email. Not your Facebook all the time, but your email and your academic stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things. Walk over to the library after lunch. It's a 2-minute walk, maybe. I think there's a lot of things that I would say beyond that. Again, from your comment, I'm taking that you're saying that many people do that. You know, if many people did that, I think our numbers would be higher. But I'm sure that some people do it, and so I think there are other things to do, and I don't think that this is going to be a deal breaker in terms of people having some downtime. Go visit a friend in residence halls. Go over to the MAC. Do some of these other things.
I have 2 other quick questions. All right, financially, what will add in the extra rooms and the layout that you guys here? What financially will that add to the campus?
Right now, we've done some preliminary, you know, square footage, and if we redid the space, how much it might cost. But we're looking for money, obviously, to finance a project. Some of it might be gifts, some of it may be other money, but we really, until we get your voice, understand, you know, what people really want, is this a good idea, and all of these other things, it's a little premature to say, you know, how much. We haven't gotten an architect involved, et cetera. So I mean, I don't know that I mean, is there something you'd want to throw out there, John, as our business vice president on this? But
And I'm not real clear I understand your question with regard to finances.
Yeah, I was more so saying, like you guys said, you guys broke even with the 60,000 for bowls with billiards. If you took that out, as far as adding the extra rooms downstairs, how much more revenue would they bring to the university as far as programs, going to one, or things of that nature?
I'm not sure that we're going to bring any revenue to that space, because that space is going to be utilized for student clubs, organizations, and affiliated groups, as well as the basement. So I don't think it's a revenue producer. I thought you were asking what would it cost us to do the space. And,
That was my next question.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of preliminary at this point, and without an architect, I personally wouldn't want to throw a number out there because it could change, and so I'd be a little more uncomfortable in doing that. But I will tell you that we'll make every effort to find those dollars in gifts and other things, if at all possible, as we do for other development activity. We have a student life fund in the Division of Student Affairs where we solicit gifts for different things that we do, and we would certainly try to raise some money that way, but I'm sure it wouldn't be all of that.
I do have one comment to that, though. The 60,000 that is currently credited to Bowling and Billiards to offset the maintenance and operation costs that David spoke to. Most of that would be freed up and could go towards other activities in the building.
So we wouldn't raise tuition or anything like that, so, okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Senator
you.
McCain. Senator Carr?
This is a question coming from some constituents who approached me. A lot of international students do not have transportation, so going to those off-campus bowling alleys is not an option for them. So they would like to know, will a bowling alley be a possible venue in the College Park District?
I'll mention that we do have a car sharing program, and not necessarily the answer to your question, but I'll put in a plug for that also. and students with international driver's license are eligible to be a member of the car sharing program. It's a program that we have with Hertz. And I think we have close to 600 students who are now members of that program. It's part of our sustainability initiatives out of our Office of Sustainability. So there is that avenue available for students, even international students, if they would like to get off campus to go do, go out to dinner, go to bowling, to bowl somewhere, shop, or whatever they'd like to.
We also have the MAB Mover that runs with it Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
It runs Saturdays and Sundays for a very nominal cost. I think it's $1 or $2. $2 and then for each individual. So again, there are options for others who want to get off campus who don't have a car.
Okay, so bowling is not a possible venue in College Park District at this time?
We have not talked about it, and I don't know that there's a location.
As far as what being
Bowling and Billiards in the College Park Center.
Right. We really don't have the space. We've got 7 of the retail spaces leased, and we're real close to finalizing, we hope, leases on 2 other spaces. And that would only leave one space that's about 1,400 square feet, which a little too small for bowling and billiards.
Yes.
Thank you. In the essence of time, please keep your comments really.
Dr. Lamas, you guys, my main concern is, you speak of the priority for students and everything. These children are your priorities. They come on behalf, you say 15,000 kids, joined and they're willing to do this Excel fraternity and sorority. Like, what are the 15,000 kids? They've performed and they've succeeded with the space provided to them now. Why are we just now talking about reutilizing bowling and billiards when these kids use it to the best of their ability and they do it? And you say that there's billiard tables in all the dorms. Well, not all of them, but in some of the dorms, correct? As last time I checked, not all kids can get into the dorms. And, if you move the billiards to MAC, most of these kids are on a time schedule. They stop between bowling and billiards because their friends are there during classes. And you say, go to the MAC, rent out a locker, lockers aren't free. Who's going to pay for that locker if these kids go to the billiards in their spare time? If you move billiards to the MAC, you're going to lose half the kids. And you say prioritize. My constituents were upset about this. And my concern is, you say prioritize. What about the kids? What about the kids that you don't prioritize?
First of all, let me say that I never refer to college students as kids. I do have a couple of kids, but I don't refer to them as kids. As your Vice President for Student Affairs, I think my record is pretty solid for 7.5 years, that I have tried to do everything within my power in working with our staff to do everything we can for all students. And sometimes you have to make tough decisions in terms of looking at situations and deciding where you're going to prioritize some things. So that is part of it, but we always do it with student voice. Clearly, you have a voice here, they have a voice here, everybody has a voice here. there is no done deal. We are just exploring some possibilities at this point. I get the sense you think I don't care about these students. I care about all students. So let me just go on record as saying that I find your comments not to be something that are very carefully selected in terms of saying something like that. The fact of the matter comes down to that there's limited space, there's limited funds to do things, and sometimes you have to make some decisions. And in this case, no decision has been made, and we're listening to you. And I want this to be respectful. If in fact, at the end of the day, this is a higher purpose, and this is what the student body wants here at UTA, then I expect that we'll continue as is and move forward. I think you have some of your facts mixed up in terms of, first of all, you don't need to rent a locker, and it doesn't cost anything when you walk into the building. If you use it for the day, I think it's a very small, minimal fee at all. But you don't need to have a locker to go use the billiards there. You don't need to have a locker to go play ball or do anything else. I mean, you can, come as is and do what you want. So I don't think there's an additional cost to any of that. Using the building other than swiping your card and walking in.
With the petition against removing the Bowling Billiards from the UC, we have about 2,402 signatures. So I just want to present these. Should I give them to you?
A group of people would be detrimental to those group of people. Also, I just noticed something very interesting in the bar graph that's been given out. It goes backwards, so the attendance actually goes up over time. It doesn't decrease over time. So just so you all know, it does. So we've seen progress. There's not a decline, there's actually an increase. The last thing I want to bring attention to is I feel that there's a slight conflict of interest with the president of student governance being an employee of the school at the same time. It doesn't bring transparency to the issue. So we would appreciate it if there could be some justification to that maybe. And other than that, just reconsider maybe not removing D&D from school premises. It's a very integral part of the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This public comment section should be related to the Bowling and Billiards proposal.
I think you're both, but I can go sit back here if you all want to make comments and we'll listen to them, or if you have questions for us, we'll be happy to answer questions.
All right, I'd love to do both.
Do it.
What are the plans for that one unallotted space at the College Park? You mentioned that there were 7 spaces that were being leased currently, 2 more which you were hoping to put on a lease, and 1 more which I felt gave the implication that there were no plans for as of yet. Could you please give a bit of clarification on that?
There's the space I was talking about.
Etc. So there have been many iterations of trying to move people to try to keep being able to expand the student needs.
John Morris, and I'm a graduate student in the social work department. There's some things I wanted to mention that I don't think that removing bowling would be a amenity that would run people away. I think that the offices that we would be giving that space to provide a number of fabulous events throughout the year that would bring people to this campus, not turn them away from it. And you student representatives, I wrote my words down so I don't forget. You student representatives have an opportunity to propel UTA forward and meet the needs of future Mavericks. The student population increases a few thousand every year, and I ask how many of those students are actually going to come in and bowl. I'm sure that it is a marginal increase each year, but I don't think it matches the number that participate in things like the different events that Multicultural Affairs puts on, or Excel puts on, Leadership puts on. We would all benefit as a whole, as a community, as a campus, by repurposing that space. And I would gladly trade bowling for more access to the staff that help make my college experience more valuable, and these people provide the memories we'll cherish and the occasions to celebrate year-round. I don't think that it is right to celebrate the status quo, and I support a change that would impact the future Mavericks and the quality of their college experience, because those are the people who are affected by this change, as well as these students. But I like to keep in mind the future Mavericks, and those people may benefit far more than we do right now.
It's not like very Bowling Billiards gets many tour guides a day. And I heard many people off campus that don't even go to the schools. They come here and play bowling. And I believe, so replacing Bowling Billiards with office space will really break down one of the university's strongest points.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Collins. I'm here representing the gaming community part that usually takes place in Bowling and Billiards. And for many years, Bowling and Billiards has just offered so many great opportunities for us. Apart from having foosball or bowling, billiards, or even table tennis, there's the game lounge. We can just come enjoy there. It's been a great place for me to de-stress after class, or just find a place for me to stop by and rest and catch up with my peers. Within that place, many people also bring their own gaming consoles there just to enjoy and engage in friendly competition with one another. There's a variety of game consoles, including PlayStation 3s, Xbox 360s, Nintendo Wii U, or even their own personal PCs. It's just a great way for people to bring multiplayer games, sit down, enjoy each other, have a friendly competition, and build a community with one another. And we're an open community, so we're always seeking out more people to join us. We're just open and friendly. We have asked many people to bring their friends and ask if we can get any assistance to help improve any interaction we have. So within that space, it's just such a great opportunity for us. And we hold gaming tournaments towards the end of the semesters. We actually build up local funds from students, and we actually give back to those people that help us in the end. So ever since being a student here since 2009, it's just been a great place for me to come by, meet new friends, and make incredible memories that I just wouldn't know myself without them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pauline, and I will be representing the billiards team as historian and also as secretary. The billiards area is, metaphorically speaking, our holy training ground, and without it, if we were to repurpose it, we would have no place to really hold tournaments or practice or anything else. The MAC is not a very good replacement either because space there is very limited. We won't have a lot of space for any of the billiards tables, and they're very expensive. So if we were to place them in apartments or dorm rooms, for example, dorm areas, they would not take good care. We go, after playing, we are there from morning till night, 8, 9, 10 hours a day practicing every single day. We go to one of the dorms to practice even further. But the billiards tables there are very out of shape. The felt is ripped, the pockets are very loose, and we can't really practice there. We are a recognized team, and sorry about that. But yeah, when I first came here as a freshman, one of the main points why I decided to go here instead of UT Austin or even UT Dallas or Baylor was because of the pool hall. And really, everyone in the audience here is my family. So, that's it. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Rumi, and I actually work at the Bowling and Billiards. So one of my questions to you guys is that, considering that we work there, what is going to happen to our jobs? Like, that's my first thing.
I can't speak for David, I'll let him speak after. We employ 400 to 500 students in the division of student affairs, and if you need a job, we'll find you a job somewhere else. That's not the place. I know he employs a number of people at UC. You want to speak to that?
Sure, yeah, we employ about another 50 individuals in the University Center, and like Dr. Thomas, we would be more than happy to.
Well, okay, that's good, I guess, but like I've been like looking for jobs on the Snap jobs, and it's like every time it's not in the UC, or like when it's the UC, they already hired someone, so it's pretty difficult. But anyways, I'll hold you back up to like that anyway.
I promise you that if there are any student jobs that wherever get lost, that I will make sure that you have a place. I would never do that. I worked myself as an undergrad. I was a first generation student. I didn't have a silver spoon. It was not easy for me. And I worked my way through college and paid my own way. So I have very strong feelings about our students. That's why I'm here and why I like being here. We would never do that to you. If you knew me or them, you know we would never contemplate doing anything like that. So that's no worries there. You will find a place. I can't tell you that you like it better than we are, but you know, we have almost 100 people that work in the MAC and they love it there. So I would think we could get you a job someplace where you would enjoy it.
Another comment I have is like we work, like us as a staff, we just worked on the renovations that went in place, and like to us that's like we like love working on it, and we spend so much time on it to see like it's gonna be repurposed. That's like wow, that hurts us in a way because that's how we got to bond with each other over the summer. And then another thing you said to move the billiards to the MAC. One thing I've noticed is like most people do not want to walk over to the MAC, and like usually the MAC comes to the Bowling and Billiards to hold their tournaments and stuff like football and ping pong. And I was like, you guys have 4 ping pong like tables, but you come over there to do the tournaments, and the pool table, they do their tournaments there. It's like
we don't have any pool tables in the MAC at this time. I don't know about foosball, and I'm not privy to that. What I can tell you is that we have 4,500 people a day that go to the MAC, so there are enough people who choose to walk there and back every day. Almost 75 to 80% of the student body at one time or another goes to the MAC in any given year. Those are statistics that we have, so I can tell you that other than the UC and the library, probably the MAC is the most used building on campus. And those are just numbers I can recall off the top of my head. I don't know why they do the tournament there. Maybe it's cozier there for the tournament. The MAC's a pretty big building. I don't know what the choices are. I can tell you, go there on any given weekend, as far as international students, and the place is packed with badminton, table tennis, gaming. I mean, people.
First of all, I'd like to thank Student Conquerors for standing up for their constituents. It feels like they certainly went out and made an effort to get their opinions. I personally feel that the vitality of campus life comes from student initiative, and I really doubt that that comes from a cubicle most of the time. I feel that student initiative is found in the field, and that this would be limiting our opportunities in the field in the realm for us to go out and just make bonds and relationships that really make up these student organizations that you're trying to serve. And also, I see the purpose for repurposing is basically on the side of such things as departmental organizations and just basically things that are synonymous with bureaucracy. And that to me sounds like higher costs, higher tuition, and just more costs towards the future, which I think would be endangering future students and injuring the current students here at UTA.
Hello, my name is James Magazzino. I'm the Vice President of the Italian Cultural Society. First of all, I wanted to thank the Vice President. When you spoke about wanting to create an environment that would want to keep students on campus, I respect that and I admire that. And because of that comment that you made, I wanted to ask you, when you see so many students getting organized to petition, to come to a meeting, and to express their opinion, I mean, all the speakers that spoke before me were all against this act or this movement. I'm not exactly sure what it's what its official name is, but everybody spoke against it. Don't you think that maybe, considering your objectives, it would be counterproductive to create more office space and more conference rooms when we have so many of those already? Now, being the vice president of an organization, I know what it takes to organize and prepare a meeting, and if you prepare accordingly, it's not really that difficult to get an available, or to get a space, or get a space for the organization. Also too, all of the lecture rooms across campus are available for organizations to hold their meetings. So it's hard for me to believe that at any given time there's not at least one lecture room available for an organization to meet. Also too, the Bowling and Billiards is the only bowling and billiards we have on campus. If we were to create other offices and other conference rooms, we have plenty of those. They wouldn't be the only office or the only conference rooms available on campus. And so, taking all these things in consideration, I wonder, for example, I appreciate the fact that you said that if at the end of the day we decide, or you guys find out that maybe this isn't the best decision, like how many students, how many petitions do you need? Like, if you can give us a quota that we can reach, because I know for a fact we reached 2,000 signatures, and that's a pretty big number. And when you see the turnout, I mean, most people might not think that this is a big turnout, but for a normal hearing, I know that this is a pretty big turnout. So,
I guess your question is, how many individuals? There is no number that I have in my head. I know that my colleagues have a number in their head of how many people have to sign. What I can tell you is that many students have also come to me and have talked to me about how they think this is a great idea. So that's why we went to Student Congress and your representatives and asked for them to express their voice on what is it you'd like to see. So I don't think it's numbers. I will tell you that petitions are okay, whether it's this one or another, but I've had at least 2 or 3 students that said to me that they signed the petition because they were being, kind of pushed towards it, and that what they were told was not what we're proposing here. And so, to me, the petition is certainly one sign, but it's not the whole thing. It's your representative body and what you think your representative body thinks we should do. If we don't go down this direction, then we've made decisions, and those decisions will be that the other areas that I've mentioned will not get space. Very unlikely to get space anytime in the near future, and then we will have bowling and billiards, and you guys will be happy, and these other folks in the future will probably sign a petition and say, why don't we have any more space, and we're on top of each other or something like that. So right now, it's again, we're trying to get your opinions, your voice to come out. There's no number, there's no quota. It's a tough decision on both sides, and if you want to go get more people to sign, that's up to you. But the one thing I would say is, in all fairness, with anybody with a petition, is you need to point out what it is that you're getting and losing in the situation, not just one side. And that is often an issue when people put out stuff on the Facebook or other places, is they give a very skewed picture so that people will go with their cause. I respect everybody who's spoken here. I've heard everything they have to say, and obviously I'll take that in consideration and talk to my colleagues. And Student Congress at the end of the day will, I hope, give us some feelings of what they think the pros and cons are and what they think is best moving forward. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
I hope this won't come across as a dumb question, but
No dumb questions.
If I'm correct in my understanding, last time it still costs money to use bowling and billiards, even as a student, you have to pay a fee.
Yes, that's correct.
For both bowling and billiards, even if I want to play pool. And correct me again if I'm wrong, but last time I went to the MAC, which was yesterday, it's free for a student to go to the MAC?
It is free for a student to go to the MAC. I think if you rent a day locker, there's some kind of small fee. I just never rent a day locker. I have my own locker.
Okay, aside
I pay a fee for my locker. I don't know. You guys know.
Aside from the locker, Dr. Lamas, aside from the locker.
You can walk to the MAC and do anything you want from 6 o'clock in the morning to midnight and not pay a cent.
Okay, here's my real question here, Dr. Lamas. So if you were able, and I was over this weekend checking upstairs in the lounge area, if you were to move some of the chairs and things, I think you have room to put in several billiard tables.
Oh, absolutely.
If such, would you charge an extra fee for the billiard tables? Or would our students who use billiards, who have to pay a fee now, be able to use billiards for free if you're able to promise them that as a concrete thing? So if you move billiards to the mat, as opposed to the fee you have to pay now to use it, it would be free?
Yeah, we haven't talked about it, and I undercut my friends here, but I didn't plan on having people pay. We would just absorb it like we do everything else. So we have gaming equipment, we have basketballs, anything you get in the MAC is part of the money you pay as a student in your tuition, because we no longer have fees. And so I wouldn't say, well, we're going to have everything else free, but we're going to charge you for the tables. And so there's
So what you're saying is students who now pay to play pool would be able to play pool for free.
What I'm saying is there's no plan on making them pay at that point, no. Yeah. Scrooge over here, you make them pay.
We have time for one more comment.
No, it is. I hadn't thought about it, honestly. No, I mean, I can't single one area out and not tell it. Yes, ma'am. We have one here.
Hello, my name is Yesenia Hernandez, and I'm the student supervisor at Bowling and Billiards. And I do know she just talked about pricing, that it would be free or whatever, but I do know that the MAC is not available all the time, like during the summer, to every student. You have to be actually taking a summer class to go into the MAC during the summer, and we are open for anyone during the summer. As long, I mean, of course, you still have to have your student ID, but I mean, we're assuming you're going to come back for the fall or whatever. But
there is a nominal fee if you want to have a MAC membership in the summer. And off the top of my head, I don't have it memorized, but it's not very much money.
I think it's like $25.
Right.
But see, and
How much
with
is
us, we
how
charge
much is daily bowling?
$3,
Okay.
and you can play all day for $3.
3 days.
And
How much is billiards? I don't know.
billiards is $2 all day.
Okay. We're open from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight. In the summer, our hours shift a little bit, and we're open on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't know how that compares with the UC hours. So.
Yeah, we're open until 10 p.m. for students. So yeah, but I know she said it would be, I guess, for free if they moved it over there. But I know the one thing that I get from customers and parents that come in there is they get to bring their family for the same price that they would pay there. At the MAC, I don't think you can bring your family. They would have to pay even more, I think, to
You
get
have
in.
to pay for a pass. I believe the passes are $5. We're really getting you all the numbers tonight, but I think it's $5 for a day pass at the MAC, and you can do anything in the MAC with it. You have to be accompanied by an adult if it's a child, because obviously with all the machinery we have there, like the ellipticals and other things, we don't want some kid getting on it, being thrown like the commercials back 50 feet or something like that.
So yeah, but so I know that's one of the things that students like, that they can bring their family, because some of them spend the whole time here at school, studying or whatever, and they can bring their family, their brothers or sisters, and spend a little bit of time while they're on campus without having to leave the comfort of their dorm or whatever. They can, family can come and visit them for the same price that they're paying. And I know that they really like that. They're always surprised that they can bring their family, that their families can be part of the school. Because I know for me that's an important thing. I'm an architecture student. I'm there all night, so it's awesome if my parents can come and see me at work, and come see me and play with me, bowling for a little bit, and then go back home. For me, it's a 30-minute drive every day, so it's not easy for me to spend time with them. So I know a lot of students like that, and I know they like the pricing. Also, you mentioned that there's several bowling alleys around here, but I do know that none of them charge less than $3 to play all day. And I know that most of us, I would say, don't have especially being college students, don't have that much money to have that. Bowling is a luxury kind of also. So it's a luxury, so $3 to play all day I think is pretty economical for a college student.